Hello, everyone. I am Nicole from Crime, Lies, and Alibis. I just wanted to talk to you guys for a little bit about Stephan Sterns, his internet presence on Reddit that I had discovered last night, and just how much he spends on toys, or was spending, I should say, on toys, because obviously he's in prison right now, so he isn't spending money on anything. Darn. I'm so sorry for him. I know that must really suck, not being able to buy toys while in prison. But anyway, let's crack at it, shall we? I discovered his Reddit because I was looking for other images of Maddie. And I came across, I've seen this one before, but I just wanted to kind of start out with her so that we remember who the victim is in this. Because at the end of the day, this is the person that we are hoping to find justice for. So I was looking for different pictures of Maddie, and I came across this one of Maddie that I had not seen before from when she was obviously quite little. And underneath it, as someone who is on Reddit, I saw the tagline Reddit, and I was like, oh no. I knew that Stephan was on Reddit, but I hadn't come across any of his stuff. I am on Reddit too, but I've never seen his content because I don't follow the same things he did. So I found this image, and I've kind of redacted everything, just he can be found easily on there, but I just blurred out people's names and stuff. I love that people are roasting him though. That makes me quite happy. So this said, the finished product, my girlfriend's 9-year-old daughter planned and painted this scheme with bits of help from me on the helmet and small bits. She's very proud, and it looks pretty darn good. This person said, your girlfriend's 9-year-old daughter paints better than any pro painter I've seen on eBay. Which, that's a really nice compliment, but also very weird. She says thank you, and wow, she didn't know she did so well. Okay. She did excellent. That color scheme pops. She says thank you. Bullshit. It was you all along. She never painted any of that. It's your effing fantasy, loser. Sadly, the young lady pictured is Maddie Soto, and this post was made by Stephan Sterns. And the other person is like pedophile, for YouTube purposes. Great work. She should be proud. That's definitely a lot better than some of the stuff I've seen from adults. I also really like the turquoise. She's super happy. It's Night Haunt Gloom over Wraithbone jeez, with Genna's gold. I think she did a fantastic job and agree that it's better than some adults. And then this person rightfully says he is now the main suspect in her murder and a convicted child molester. Look up Madeline Soto. Wait, what? I'm sorry, I don't understand. He's been assaulting the girl in the pic for years, and he's her unaliver and is now being investigated. He got arrested. This other person says, Google Madeline Soto. Again, I'm loving that he's getting roasted on these posts, rightfully so. People have the right to call him out, even though he can't see it, which kind of makes it, that much better. People can say what they want about him because you can't come back and set the record straight or anything. He's kind of stuck with this is what's out there about him. So then moving on, he talks about Disneyland cast members are unhappy. This person says, I just went for the first time in over a year. I noticed the cast members seem less enthusiastic and had lower energy. I'm concerned about their morale and what's contributing to it anyway to encourage them as a guest. If a McDonald's worker doesn't salt the French fries enough, no customers are at risk of being permanently maimed or killed as a result. I'm unsure where he was going with this because, okay, that's a true statement, I guess. Disney park cast members, or CMs, especially attraction CMs, are literally and legally responsible for your safety on these rides and the attraction areas they work. I don't know about you, but I'd want those CMs to be happy and care about their jobs enough to not half-ass anything or feel burned out to the point they just don't care anymore. Lives are on the line, and people at these parks are suicidally stupid sometimes. Half the job is just protecting guests from their own ignorance or stupidity. Yes, CMs deserve more money in the premium service and experience that they provide. I don't understand what relevance that has to what this person is saying, though. they're probably looking for advice, like, are we allowed to give them bottles of water? Are we allowed to, what are we allowed to say to them? Are we allowed to approach them? I mean, obviously you are, but like, what can we do as guests to make it better? He just goes on this tangent about people being stupid. Well, that doesn't solve anything. How about stay out of restricted areas if you want to keep cast members happy? Don't litter if you want to keep cast members happy. Like, his comment does not answer anything. It's just this little tangent that means absolutely nothing and is unhelpful, but sure. There's another post about Disney. I was trying to do these in order, but I didn't really want to get to his gaming stuff quite yet. What is this one? That was about gaming stuff. This person, he's endorsing their work. I just caught a screenshot of this. I didn't really read what the post was about, but it sounds like they do art, and he likes their art and has purchased their art or is endorsing their art, and they're thanking him for the support. I'd love to make more designs for the community. What would y'all like to see in the future? Any feedback on them moving forward? And this is important because a lot of the people he talks to on Reddit are young, like teenager level, maybe a little older than teenager level, but he seems to have a thing for teenagers. Imagine that. And obviously younger, but because Maddie was younger, but he had access to her, unfortunately. But that just seems to be who he gravitates to. And I say this because some of his advice: unexpectedly great student. Sometimes it's like that with kids. I was the same way in high school. I was quiet and polite, but when me and my friends were together, we raised hell and fed into each other's mischief. It could be just that other kids being absent may have broken that feedback loop of effery, so to speak. I don't really know if they are friends or in cahoots very often, but it seems likely upon first glance, or maybe he is just more hellish to people he is comfortable or familiar with. Sorry I didn't explain the other baddie is in a different hour. He also SA'd her, but he wasn't charged yet. So again, without really going into like the details of what this is about, I'm assuming that a substitute teacher had an issue with students. But I just thought this one was especially one I wanted to talk about because according to one of Stephan's former friends, this is so gross. So a little bit of a get your stomach ready kind of moment. Apparently, Stephan was not good in health class. He was not a health class A+ student. Let me promise you that. Probably also should have taken biology again, or, probably didn't take anatomy. I'm sure that was too high of a level of science class for him to take. But here is where the U.S. education system failed Stephan. Apparently, he used to keep little vials of his baby gravy, and he would slip it into unsuspecting girls' drinks at school. Yeah. I could not imagine the disgusted feeling I would experience if I were someone who was a female who knew Stephan at school and thought that he might have spiked my drink with his stuff. What? Like, no thank you. That's so gross. And he did this because he thought that he could impregnate them. That was his whole purpose. Slipping girls the baby gravy, committing assault. He thought that he could get them pregnant. This is a teenage Stephan, everyone. Why his friend didn't report him, I don't know if this was someone that he told this to and didn't actually, I would hope that if somebody witnessed him doing this, they would have told authorities because it's disgusting. I don't know if this is, something that he said because he thought it was funny and he actually didn't do it. I hope he didn't do it, but that's the story, is that he slipped girls his, to impregnate them while he was in high school. So that's the shenanigans and the mischief that Stephan was doing. So, okay, moving on from that. So this one was deleted by the user, but it was a post about a girl that was a friend who may have not been a good friend. So this is Stephan's response. Tell her she's a shitty friend and you don't want to hang out anymore, and then don't hang out with her anymore. If she tries, ice her out. If your other friends feel the same way, then maybe the next time you're all together at lunch, bringing them up with with all of them there to back you up. There is no rule anywhere that you have to stay in a friendship that affects you negatively. Friends lift each other up, not beat each other down, period. I would like to say that to her face, although thanks to you for the giggle. I literally appreciate you making me realize this. Thanks for the advice. Here's some advice for you as a teen. The person you are responding to here as abused and killed his girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter. Be careful on the internet. You never know who you are talking to. Right? How effing creepy is it that he has only been posting advice for teens in the last few months? Or the last month. Scary part here is on Reddit, he responded to and has given advice to mostly teenagers. So theoretically, we are going to look at the comment that he made. He's right. If somebody is a friend and they're not treating you well, then they're really not your friend. And if they're not good for you or for your mental health, and you're not finding that they have anything positive to bring to the table in friendship, then it is best to distance yourself from that person. Keep them at arm's length and not be friendly. You can be friendly. You can be cordial, but you don't have to be someone's friend if it's not beneficial. That is sound advice, and everybody should take that advice. However, this advice coming from Stephan feels really weird because he is someone giving advice to teenagers about their young teenage friends, and he's 37 years old. This was funny. If you ran Disney World. Now, this whole tangent must have been after he got fired, because this sounds like the ranting and raving of somebody who's mad they no longer have their job. If you ran Disney World, they will funnel millions and millions into a streaming platform, but avoid sinking any money into the parks if they can help it. Preventative maintenance? Nah, we'll fix it when it breaks. Parks for the ride are no longer available. Not going to put any money into developing new parts, just buy used parts from all over the world that sometimes arrive in unusable condition and have to be replaced right out of the box. Improved guest experience? Nah, slash quality and raise the prices. Now do it again. Now reduce portion size on the food and also charge more for it. Now do it again and again. Hire and pay enough cast members to adequately cover all the positions throughout the day. Nah, short staff on the heck out of those rides to save money and run those CMs until they burn out and leave because they can just be replaced with more college kids. Pay cast members livable wages and actually take care of them like they used to with all those profits they like to brag about. Nah, bigger bonuses for the executives and more money for investors. Working at Disney was such a fun and unique experience, but after a while you start seeing the problems caused by the people running the company, who are far more interested in making as much money as possible, as fast as possible, rather than making magic. The idea of Stephan working at an amusement park around children makes me so uncomfortable. I don't know exactly what he did at, I think it was Epcot he worked at. I don't know if he was a ride handler or whatever. He could have been cleaning up trash for all I care. It's uncomfortable because knowing the kind of person that he is, I mean, obviously he didn't show signs of being this kind of person because he got away with it for so long. But this sounds like the ramblings of somebody who lost their job and they're bitter about it. I mean, I get a lot of this stuff is true. Excuse me. A lot of this stuff is true. You know, these companies do pump money into what seems like the wrong things and don't care about the things that they should care about. But also, if this was true and they routinely didn't fix broken parts on their rides, we'd be hearing about a lot more issues with their rides being not safe than we actually are. So I wonder how much of that is a little inflated, I guess, if you will. So then, exaggerated is the word I was looking for. So then there's this. This is just some of the comments that he's made. Disneyland stroller stealers. That's kind of a weird thing for him to be repeatedly commenting on. California sucks. That's what she says. Okay, that's gross. Childish. Deleted by user, as everyone has said. Ease into it. Start small with something relatively light. Don't go straight. I don't know what that was. I didn't click on it. What if you found a stash of pornographic magazines? They've had really great celebrity interviews, fashion tips, lifestyle articles, and general guy stuff. I didn't read that one either because that's just disgusting. This is the one that kind of caught my attention. Most trustworthy class. I play a rogue and I understand your sentiment completely. I love it because questing Anna. And this just made me stop because I'm a gamer. I've played World of Warcraft for a long time. I haven't been playing as much lately as I used to. Kind of goes in waves. But I was pretty hardcore into Classic for a little while. I still have a guild. People that I really like, actually. So it makes me uncomfortable that it's possible I could have run into this guy. So I go to this comment section. I play a rogue and I understand your sentiment completely. I love it because questing on a rogue is so easy. Just bypassing mobs and going straight for the objective and being a single target DPS hot rod is fun in dungeons and raids. I like to mostly mind my business and act like an invisible bodyguard while I'm out and about, and if I'm in the world I see an ally getting attacked, I may jump in if it's going badly. Otherwise, I'm just doing my thing and minding my business. Rogues are a lot like sharks. You never know exactly how many might be around you at any given time, but you know they're probably there, and you should always be conscious of that possibility. Okay? His preferred RPG character is a predator, just as alleged in real life. Filthy, pedo, rotten hell. Too bad that child you M'd and K'd didn't have an invisible bodyguard. You certainly weren't. And I just want to say that it is kind of amusing in a not a haha kind of way, but an oh my god kind of way. Like, of all classes for you to play, not paladin, not hunter, not healer. I mean, priest would have been kind of funny. He played a rogue, so he liked to stealth behind people and backstab them. That's, you know, kind of what you do when you're a rogue. That's the whole purpose of your class. You know, he wasn't a bear tank. He wasn't, you know, a boom chicken. He wasn't any of those things. He chose a rogue. He chose the stealth class who let people get all comfortable before he stabbed them in the back. Interesting choice there, Stephan. So then I also found some of his toys that he liked to buy. Now, everybody who is a collector knows that when the most money is in the toys that are still in their containers or packages. That's where the money is. If you're collecting toys and you want to make money off of them as a potential investment, you leave them in the box. You leave them in the container because that is where you are going to get your most value from. Not if you're Stephan. He takes them out of the package and plays with them. Like you will see in this picture, he's holding one. This picture, he has them all laid out on a blanket or on the carpet or something. So these are all brand new. You can tell because they're not scuffed, they're not scratched, they're not marred up in any way. Several of them still have the battery tags. So you know they're brand new. You know that he has opened these. They're worth nothing now. I mean, not worth nothing. They still have some value. But he bought these to play with them. So then I was kind of curious and I went over to eBay and here's the same one in the package still for $262.50. It was $375, 30% off by this seller. So when you think of the idea that, I mean, and there's a couple of these on there for the same price. Some of them are a little higher. And I know that he would have bought these at least a year ago because he's been in prison. But it's just odd to me that he spent so much money on a toy that A, he intended to play with, open, not resell, when he didn't have a job. He had no job. At that point, Jen was on disability. I know it says that this was a year ago, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it goes to a year until it's 2 years. I have no idea when he actually made this post or when he actually bought this, but she said that they fought over money because he was always getting stuff in the mail. Like he was always getting these toys in the mail and he didn't have a job and she was on disability. She wasn't working. So where was he getting all this money? You know that he was getting a little bit of money from his dad. He had said he's stolen money from his dad. But I don't see how his parents were just sitting on so much money stashed away in a drawer that he was able to spend on buying these toys. I couldn't really find a lot of the other ones, but these are not cheap. $197 for this one, $280 for that little one. That's just a little case, so $13 for that. This one was $50, but a lot of these are pretty pricey for something that, I mean, that one's $35. That's not too terrible, I suppose. But these are things that he was spending his money on not having a job. If I were Jen, I would be like, yo, where are you getting this money from? That one's kind of interesting because it has a little, it looks almost like a guitar pick. Where's that? There's that one. That card, which I found that one. That one's only about 20 bucks, but still. It seems silly to spend $20 on a card. You're a 37-year-old collecting toys that you play with, but you have no job. Just seems ridiculous. Thought I had saw something of his that had, maybe not. But it just seems ridiculous to me that this is what these toys are going for, that he was collecting, and he wasn't collecting them to sell them. He wasn't collecting them so that he could sell a lot and say, hey, these are the toys that I have collected, and, you know, inflate the price because there's a bunch of them. He opened them and he was playing with them, and he got one for Maddie. I don't know if I put that up here or not. I don't think I did. But he even got one for Maddie and bragged that, oh, you know, my stepdaughter has one too. I got one for her. And there he kind of goes back and forth on Reddit between calling her his girlfriend's daughter and calling her his stepdaughter. Like, which is it, Stephan? I mean, it really doesn't matter because he was abusing her, and we're not going to give him any slack for that. But yeah, so I was just looking at the toy costs and I was curious. And then when I found this Reddit, it told me exactly the kind of crap that he was buying. And he's buying these two oh, there's a little, I knew I had seen the little, it looks like a guitar pick. And it has music notes on it. So it's probably the point. Where did that one go? See, this one's $335 unopened, or it is opened. He says he got the uni blue, which is $159, but this one, I looked at the other pictures and it doesn't look like it's a watch. So I don't know if the watch band was optional and some of them just came with a keychain, because this one is obviously a watch. But I'm looking at these price tags and he didn't have a job. So the only thing I can figure is that he was selling photos. And I know that they only found a couple of photos of Angelica from the same day, but he didn't have any really emotional attachment to Angelica. So if he took her photos and sold them, he probably deleted them, and those were ones he didn't catch. And that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I mean, I suppose he could have been selling, what is it, blood platelets or whatever. People can go and they can donate or sell blood or platelets or whatnot, and they do get paid for that. But I don't know. I would think that would be kind of hard because he was on so many medications. I think they screen for stuff like that too. So I'm not sure if you can be on a plethora of meds and be able to donate platelets. But it just seems like, with knowing what we know about stuff, and again, all of this is alleged because we don't have any proof or verification that he's actually doing what he's doing. But these are expensive toys, guys, and he was playing with them. 37 years old, playing with toys instead of getting a job and maintaining work. I read that one. There was one that really I wanted to end with. This is the one that really irks me. I don't know. I didn't read the post itself. I can get enough out of the title to be all that I need to know. Am I the asshole for sacrificing my daughter's college? Over almost 17,000 people upvoted it. There's over 20,000 comments. Oops, I realized that I have the blocking underneath his name and not covering his name, so that's fine. Oh, there's his Reddit name if you want to go check him out. So to be clear, your older daughter, who can't keep her legs closed and keeps popping out babies she can't afford, has a dead-end career, and her boyfriend, who can't seem to climb off her for more than 5 minutes, and also not a very promising career path himself, took a stupid risk and effed up their living situation. As a result, your younger daughter is now being punished for this by having her own future prospects and chance to do better for herself snatched away. And you honestly have to ask yourself if you're the a-hole here. Yes, 100%, without a doubt, that's big time effed up. Your 17-year-old has a chance to not end up in the same damn place your oldest is in. Your oldest has made some dumb choices and continued to make more on top of it. Tell her to stop shooting out kids like her coochie is a damn slip and slide. Get her ass on state aid if she isn't already, and do not rob your youngest daughter or your youngest of her chance at a future so your oldest can continue to squander her opportunities away for nothing. That money will not help your oldest make better choices in the future and almost certainly will piss through it too fast, but that money could actually help your younger daughter get a head start and do better for herself. If you move forward with these plans, you will have 2 kids in a tight spot instead of 1, and one of them will have a very good reason for resenting you for the rest of your life. A-hole, not just an a-hole, but a stupid a-hole at that. And I'm just like, wait. There's a lot to unpack here, so can we just burn the whole suitcase instead? So you have Stephan judging a woman he's never met based on the post that was made by a parent. And again, I didn't bother reading the post because I really don't care what this person had to say. I cared about what Stephan had to say. I mean, part of what he's saying isn't wrong. You know, you shouldn't punish a younger child because of the older child's mistakes. That's true. You shouldn't. You know, that person, if they deserve an opportunity to do something with their life and you can help them do that, I agree. But I just think it's crazy that he's judging this girl that he doesn't know for having babies, and he's gross in his judgment. It's disgusting how he talks about her choices and using her vagina like a slip and slide. That's nasty. But he's judging this girl as if he has any right or room to do so. You're 37 years old. You're spending hundreds, if not thousands, on stupid toys that you're playing with, not collecting. You're talking to teenagers on the internet, giving them relationship advice. And you don't have a job. You're living with your unemployed girlfriend who's on disability. You're SAing her daughter that you've been abusing since she was 8 years old. And you have the right to talk to anybody about what you think that their child is doing, and you think that their child is squandering opportunities. Seriously? Saying, oh, if she's not on assistance, she should get on there. But I'm sure that you also have complained about people being on assistance that you're paying for as a taxpayer too, Stephan. Piece of shit. I just think it's crazy that he's just being so judgmental in this post, as if he has any room at all to speak. And it's even worse knowing that Stephan has an older brother that sounds like he's pretty much a pillar of society compared to Stephan. He's been in the military, supposedly an all-around good guy, has a family, you know, of his own, is doing very well for himself. And then he has this younger brother who's a steaming pile of crap, who's now in prison and looking at two different trials, one for CSAM and the other one for unaliving his, I mean, it's all alleged because he's technically innocent until proven guilty. This is America. You know, this is how we treat people. We give them their day in court or their weeks in court or however long this will go on, probably for a while. You know, tentatively May 5th is going to be the first trial for the CSAM, and September 22nd is slated so far for the murder trial. Until then, he's innocent, but he still is not exactly the pillar of society who should be making posts like this and commenting at people and giving them advice or criticizing them for what they're doing for their own children when he's a humongous piece of crap. It's just super ironic to me, and I wanted to get on here and talk about the different things that I found on Reddit There's a bunch of it out there. But, you know, this man had a whole lot of audacity. And then to sit there and listen to him talk to his parents in those jailhouse recordings, and listen to him whine about what it's like being in prison, and listening to him whine about the different things that he doesn't like that he has to deal with. Aunts not being able to sleep well, the guards don't like him, boo-hoo. If this was Yelp, I'd give them a 1-star review. Stephan, you're an idiot. And just an unbelievable individual. And I really hope that we do, I'm going to go back to Maddie. I really do hope that we can find justice for this sweet little girl. She had tons of people fail her in life. And I'm hoping that she does not get failed in death, that she can rest with dignity and know that she can't be hurt anymore. And maybe, just maybe, the state of Florida will start changing some of these laws to stop protecting mothers, and fathers too, I'm sure. But mothers is the big topic of conversation right now, not protecting their children. And Jen had an obligation to Maddie, to protect Maddie, and she failed to do that. And to me, the fact that they even gave her immunity bothers me. Unless she has something that we don't know about because they're keeping it for trial and she's going to be an incredible witness. Jen did herself a humongous disservice, and at least in many ways, but two especially. One, admitting that around the time they broke up, he and Maddie started sleeping alone together. Like, that right there, she knew as soon as it came out of her mouth how bad it sounded when she was talking to the woman from Sex Crimes. She tried to kind of dilute it down a little and make it sound better than it actually did, but nothing could make that sound better than it did. She was sending her child to sleep with a 37-year-old man when she was 12 years old. They were all sleeping in the same bed together ever since she and Stephan started sleeping in the same bed together. Doesn't sound like Maddie really ever had her own space that she slept in. So that does not look good for Jen. Her making a Woody Allen comment multiple times and comparing Woody Allen and his wife to Stephan and her daughter. She said it to Detective Kevin. She said it to Officer Hunt. I think she said it to a couple of other people. I'm not quite sure. It's a weird statement to make, and it doesn't make her look good. It makes her look like somebody who knew it was happening, and she did nothing. She failed her daughter. And I'm not going to sit here and crucify Jen. She's not being charged with anything. I can have all kinds of opinions on her. I know that there's a lot of people who feel sorry for her. But at the end of the day, the person that we feel the sorriest for is Maddie. So let's do what we can to spread awareness for Maddie and try and see some of these laws change that we can protect children better than